of the webinar, I will introduce a bit the concept, giving some background and a little bit of the implementation workflow, and yeah, describing a bit the idea behind of this new feature. And then I will resume a bit the advantages of using UCloud for running university courses. And we will have also a teacher which will present, for which we recently implemented a UCloud course, and he will share with us his experience. So in the second part, Matthias will go through the application procedure, more practical things like also how to contact us, which resources are necessary for this in terms of support and compute storage, and the financial model. And as Matthias said, in the end, we will answer to the question that you can start from now to put actually in the chat. So, yeah, so I think, okay. So UCloud courses are university courses which are hosted on UCloud. And the concept and the implementation is done in collaboration among 3 universities, which are SDU, Aarhus, and Aalborg universities. So I hope everybody more or less know UCloud and used UCloud before this webinar, but essentially it's a cloud-based interactive platform which gives easy access to high-performance computing and was originally designed for Danish researchers at the Danish universities. So actually, UCloud has been used for teaching for a long time, but it was a bit in an ad hoc way, which means teachers were using some applications or lab we already have on UCloud, and they essentially run the application, add materials, add libraries, packages they need to use, and share with the students the materials for the courses. And actually, I think the main advantage in doing this was already that in this way, the students don't have to install anything in their computer. So it doesn't matter if the computer is old, which version they are installing, the operative system, and so on. So this was already, I think, an advantage. But here we do a step more, and UCloud courses want to be really dedicated app, which have already inside all what is necessary for the teacher to run the course and for the students to follow and do exercise. So just to be more precise, the UCloud dedicated app for the university course should be actually associated with an existing university course or a course which is planned and approved somehow. So it doesn't have to be hypothetical, but really a university course. It will be this kind of virtual lab in which the participant will have, as I anticipated, inside all the necessary software, libraries, packages, dataset, script, and notebook the teacher want to share with them, and which are necessary to do the exercise, for example. So to be a bit more concrete, I can show you. Oh no. That's not what. Oh, okay. So I have to be, I think now I want to share that's not what. Okay, so I want to share. Let me share the screen now again. Sorry. And I can can you see my screen with the slide? I think it's.
We are seeing the the keynote presentation.
Yeah, okay. So let me go to the computer and click on the course I want to share with you. Okay, so here we are on UCloud, and this is our app stores. And in the app store now we have a new card, which is Courses. And when you click in Courses, in principle, now we have just for 2 universities, but there is a card associated to each university in Denmark. And each card will contain the specific course for that university. In this particular case, I want to show you a course which we implemented for the Aarhus University. So if we click the card, you can see that there is really the code associated with the course and the version, because a teacher can also semester by semester change a bit some materials, so some necessary libraries and so on, so the version can be updated. So this specific course is connected with natural language processing and is based on a Jupyter Lab environment, essentially. As you can see, it starts like a normal app. So the teacher will, the student will give a name to the job and decide for resources, which probably will be suggested by the teacher. But then what they have more is the possibility of choosing the class. So for the teacher to organize the classes. And while choosing each class, when the app start, some materials specific for the class will be fetched. And also some libraries which are necessary for the course will be installed, which can be common to different classes or only for one classes. So, and this will be inside the app. So if I started the job before, just to be sure, and if we enter now in the job, we can see that the material has been fetched, and opening the interface, we have this, now I already choose the notebook I want to use, but you can see that there are the materials here, which we select. There are different things and script that the teacher want to share, and in particular, all the necessary libraries that the student will need to run, for example, the notebook. So essentially, if I now come back to my presentation. So essentially, as you saw from this practical example, the UCloud courses are based on existing Docker images, which in other words, existing apps we have in our app store, which can be, for example, Jupyter Lab, our studio environment, or Linux desktop, so the student can work on Linux environment, and so on. And few modifications are necessary in order to customize the app and be really specific for the university course. So in the development process, which is done by the teacher, but with our help, then there is a further help because we created the necessary frameworks with all the scripted templates which are necessary to do these modifications. So, and all the scripted templates are in a GitHub repository, and probably I have once again to share. I don't know. Sorry that work like this, but okay. So I can go in the GitHub repository and show to you a bit how does it look. This is a public repository, and in particular, you have this README file in which there are more details which explain to you different things, among other requirements like that, as I said, the course should be an existing course, planned and approved, as I said, and that the course should be for students enrolled to a Danish institution, Danish university. And for example, that the teacher which apply for having a course on UCloud need to be employed at least at a post-PhD level. But on these details, Matthias will go a bit more through, so I will leave for later. As I said, in this public repository, we host also the code necessary for the dedicated apps for the UCloud courses. And for example, in the example I showed before, if we go in courses, we choose the Aarhus University, and there is the course I presented before. With the version, and then there are all the files, which, as I said, are the results of using some templates and scripts we provide in this GitHub repository. So just to be a bit more clear, so I mean, we host in the repository the code for the apps. We don't host the course materials, which must be stored elsewhere. And this can be, for example, a GitHub repository of the teacher, or there are other options that we can discuss and help to find the best way. But in this way, there is also more control from the point of view of the teacher in changing the materials and the notebook and so on. So let me just go through the advantages in using UCloud courses. So as I said at the beginning, students don't need to install anything in their computer. And this is really important because it can be difficult, can be that they have an old computer and all these kind of issues. All the software which are essentially in the apps are guaranteed to work, are tested, are updated when necessary, and maintained for all the students. And all the students in the class will run actually the same version of the software. So there is a lot more control from the point of view of the teacher, which also can have a centralized overview of the activities of the students, opening a project and inviting the students, and essentially run from the project the different activities. So as I said, we implemented recently a course for Professor Himanshu Kandelia, which is Associate Professor at the Department of Physics, Chemistry and Pharmacy at SDU. So he teach the course we implemented is running now, and is about biomolecular simulation. And yeah, Himanshu will share with us his experience in terms of the workflow for applying for I don't know, for having support and so on, and also I think how it's going with the course. Okay, so I stop to share and I leave to Himanshu. Yeah.
Can you let Himanshu just share his screen? Can you do that?
Okay. Yes. Yeah, I think now we can do it. Yes.
Himanshu, we
You
can't
can
hear.
change.
Yeah, okay.
Now you can.
Got it. Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so I will just talk a little bit about how I'm using this new UCloud feature. So I have been using UCloud in the past 2-3 years because some Linux machines were retired and we were using the Linux terminal on UCloud because the courses I'm teaching involve the use of Linux and students have to type commands on a command line. But this time we tried to do something different after I learned about this new feature that Federica and her colleagues have implemented. We got help from Federica and I think Jonas, somebody called Jonas, to set the course up in a slightly different way. So the main challenge in previous versions of the course was that the students would have to download files from its learning and then they would upload them to UCloud or to some terminal and then they would lose some files and they wouldn't upload them in the wrong folder and so on and so forth. In the new implementation, this is all taken care of. I think this is the biggest advantage, that I don't have to worry that students will lose files or will have to upload files and so on. So just so you know, the courses are graduate level courses, and I'm using the same app for 2 different courses now. And I think it was not a lot of effort to get this started because Federica and Jonas were very helpful and very proactive. I think they were more concerned about making this happen than, than I was. So this was rather helpful. So I think the best way to show how good it is to just demonstrate how it's done. So I hope you can see my screen now. Can you?
Yes, we can
Yes,
see your
great.
screen.
Great. So this is what the students will do. They will go to UCloud, and then they will go to apps, go through courses and select the courses. And right now, I think this is the only course implemented at STU. And these are the normal UCloud features. In our case, we use CPUs. We can also use GPUs. And then I have 7 different simulations set up on GitHub. So you can see these 7 simulations here. And these can be dynamically changed quite easily. So the contents of these folders on GitHub can be changed all the time, although the folders themselves cannot change. I think I'm right about this, Federica. And I have made these changes while the course is running because I'm doing this for the first time. So there are always some hiccups in the way I implement it, not from the UCloud side. So then I choose one such course and I can add a folder. So let's say in this case, let's say I add this folder and I just click on submit. And then a terminal will pop up, and inside that terminal, all the files will be included, and students can just start typing their commands and follow instructions, which is provided to them in a separate PDF file. So the only thing they use its learning for is to look at this PDF file. Everything else essentially is on UCloud. So if I click on Open Terminal, so this will differ, I guess, depending on which course it is. In my case, it's a terminal app. In some other cases, it might be something else. And if I click ls here, so these are the files which have already been downloaded. I hope you can see this. And these files are also present in the GitHub directory, and I can change them at any time. So if I go here on my local computer, I can go to Documents, GitHub, and I can go into the same folder, course grain lipid. Oops. And I can change these files. Right. Of course, not while the app is running, but after the app is running, you can change these files, and the files will automatically be reflected once you push this folder via GitHub. So it's pretty straightforward, and it has worked very smoothly so far. The only thing is that since my app is Linux based and some students do not know Linux, so it might take them 1 or 2 sessions to get used to how it works. But this is not a problem. Another cool thing is that once these files are produced, so let's say I have this terminal and I create a file like this, I can go to the browser. Oops, it hasn't updated yet for some reason. But I can go to the browser and I can browse these files, right? So for example, I can, if I have a text file, I can just look at it. So this is rather easy for the students to do. You can also look at JPEGs and essentially most types of the files that the students need other than binaries. So the key advantages that I had is that it works a lot more smoothly because students don't have to upload and download files. And they can always download files of UCloud. Federica mentioned that nothing has to be installed on UCloud. In my case, I use some standard software that students install on their own computers for visualization. But this anybody can do. You can think of it like Microsoft Office or any standard software. It's not a big deal. And there's a lot of flexibility. So once your folders are set up on GitHub, after that, there is a lot of flexibility. I can change anything, and it automatically shows up on UCloud. That makes it very easy. A few semesters ago, we had some issues with resources not being available on UCloud, but this has not been an issue this semester at all. And this is a big, big plus. And I was told by Federica and others that in the future, there may be some possibility of setting reservations up so the teacher doesn't have to worry about, oh, the UCloud. We are just waiting for the UCloud app and the student has nothing else to do. So I can't imagine any disadvantage. But I think the only thing you have to be careful about as a teacher is that it's well documented. The students should get clear instructions to do what they're supposed to do. But this is what students expect nowadays a lot. If something does not work, they will stand up and complain until you fix it. So please provide them clear instructions, and that's about it. As long as resources are available, I think it has worked very smoothly for us. And I will strongly recommend other teachers to start using it if this works for you, particularly nowadays because IT service has taken down a lot of servers, at least in the natural science faculty. So this works perfectly for us. It's a big savior. And if you have any questions, you're welcome to contact me, even if you need any help or more feedback. And I think we still have time for some questions if somebody might have some. I'm done.
Yeah. If our questions directly to Himanshu, you can do it now. You can write in the chat and we will read it. If are more general question, then we will keep at the end. So
Federica, is there anything else you want me to?
no.
Anything?
I think it was very
Pretty much
fine.
covers
Thank you.
everything,
Yeah.
Another advantage of using UCloud is that the files are safe and in one place. So we do not rely on one student forgetting his PC. The files can easily be shared. I can see all the files and they're all safe and backed up. That removes a lot of stress. Yeah. So Federica, please let me know if there are further questions because I have to go teach a class in a little
Yeah,
bit.
no, I think there are not questions in the chat, so we can go ahead, as you said, if someone want to ask you some specific question to you, can write to you,
Okay.
and or in case ask to us in the end. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you for making this work for us.
Okay,
Appreciate
thank
it.
you. And I will let Matthias go ahead with the rest of the presentation.
Yes.
Okay.
You just need Himanshu to stop it.
If I can figure out how to do it, I will stop. I can never do this. There you go.
Perfect.
Okay.
Can you all see my screen now? Yes. All right. Well, thank you for the presentation, Himanshu. It was great to see that you have a huge benefit of this new concept that has been developed. So I will dig a bit more into this application procedure. So the first thing, if you are interested, is like go to this GitHub repo and read this README file where we have these requirements that you need to follow or need to be within. And as Federica said, I'll just dig a little bit deeper into it and go through some of them. And the first thing is that the course you're holding needs to be already existing or needs to be already approved, like in the foreseeable future. So we are not developing any courses that is not on the plan to get taught in. And then the course should be for students, which is enrolled in a Danish university. And then the teacher should be employed at this post-PhD level, so postdoc and etc. Then you also need to comply to some general terms that this GitHub repository is public. So the data you put up here will also be public available to others, and this will be under the MIT license. So the teachers must consent that their material and must remain in public for future use. And then that also means that the teacher should never share any data sets or other potentially sensitive information in this public repository. We have other solutions for how that can be handled if that is needed. And then this UCloud course you develop can be used by other teachers from other universities or from the same university because it is public available. Yes. All right. I'll just jump back to the presentation. And if you then comply with these requirements, then the next thing, and you're still interested, then the next thing will be to send an inquiry to the support enabler eScience Center, the SDU. And then we at the back office or the part of the consortium will handle this request. And this depends on where you're from. So if you're from Aalborg, Aarhus, or Odense, then it will be handled by the respective of university's front office. And if you are from any other university, it will also be handled by one of the parties in the consortium. Then we will delegate this request to one part, and then we will set up a meeting with you to actually discuss your requirements and this selection of base image, what application should be the base here. If you need any additional software for the course, and then the course app structure and design, etc. This will be handled by in a collaboration between the teacher and us. And then in the end, the teacher will be paired with a software developer from Aarhus, Aalborg, or SDU, who will support the development of the course. Yes. So to use a course on UCloud, you also need a bit other requirements. So one of them is that you need a UCloud project with compute resources and storage resources. And this application is just submitted through the normal UCloud interface and should follow your front office guidelines. Here I will just state that some resources are more available than others. For example, the sensitive part at SDU is more occupied than the AAU one. So since that UCloud courses are in general public, then it could make sense to ask for resources which are based on the Aalborg cluster to make sure that there's room for starting up servers when your class needs to start. And the last thing we need is that you need support in developing and maintaining this UCloud course by the back office from us. All right. Then there's this good thing, and this is that the UCloud courses can stay on UCloud indefinitely, unless that you as a teacher ask for it to be removed. This will be handled in between semesters. So like if it's up there and somebody else also teaches it for the semester, it will be there for the rest of the semester, right? So to make sure there's nothing there. Then the course can also be updated. Like Himanshu mentioned, that you as a teacher has a lot of options within this structure that is developed inside GitHub. But if you need to change the structure itself, that is also possible between the semesters, and this will require, 1 day of support from us. Yes. And then the financial part of getting a UCloud course is like for teachers who is employed at AAU, AU, or SDU, there will be an internal price which will be agreed between this teacher and the front office. This is because this is the consortium, and we are the one who's normally also working on UCloud. For teachers from other Danish universities, you will have to buy a minimum support package for a new course of 1 person week, so 37 hours, and the hourly rate is 1,100 Danish crowns. Everything on top of that, we have this minimal additional support unit, which will be a day's work, so 7.4 hours of the same rate on 1,100 Danish crowns. Yes. Perfect. Yeah, so to get a course, there's a bit of requirements, and if you have any questions or anything, don't be shy on confronting us with big or small questions, we are here to help you. And then we are planning a new hands-on workshop here in June, where we will actually develop a UCloud course demo together with you, step by step, inside this workshop. And we will also go even more in depth with these course implementation details, like what base images and what options do we have within this